What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So, Sauceware Audio is back with a brand new plugin. Now, these guys are the creators of one of my favorite plugins, the Octave Deluxe plugin. They also created the Scorch plugin. I use both of these plugins all the time. They're geared mainly towards trap, hip hop producers, but they always have a super dope twist to it. And they're really good at implementing things into their plugins to make it easier for the hip hop producer. So I was really excited when I heard they were dropping a new plugin, and these guys did not disappoint. Trifecta is the name of their brand new plugin, and this thing is really creative, really dope, and it follows along that same trend with these guys of creating sounds that are just full of nuances, so creative. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. Sauceware Audio, Trifecta, let's see what this thing is all about. So, as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is Trifecta. Now, Trifecta is a contact instrument, but you can use it with the free version of Contact. So anybody out there that doesn't have the paid version, this thing is still gonna work for you, and you're still gonna be able to have a whole lot of fun with it. Really simple, really easy to install. Just head over to Native Access, input your serial number, install Trifecta, and it'll be ready to go inside of Contact. As you can see right here on the screen, I have it queued up, and this thing comes loaded with a bunch of sounds. Now, Sauceware Audio is always doing something really cool, really creative with their plugins. Like I said, they're geared towards hip hop, trap producers, but there's a lot of plugins on the market that's geared towards hip hop and trap producers. So what's the difference, right? A rompler is a rompler. But these guys really focus on creating sounds that are full of nuance, the type of sounds that you could just hit on the keyboard one time and just hold your finger on the key, and it does really creative things that just spark ideas instantly. So I love what they do. I still use Octave Deluxe to this day. So I was really excited when I heard they were coming out with a new instrument, and they did not disappoint. Now, what they did with this instrument that I think is really cool, and I haven't really seen done in this type of way with this type of instrument, is they created a 3-layer beast. So I'm gonna call this the 3-layered beast. We're gonna just start off by calling it the 3-layered beast instrument. These guys created an instrument that was broken up into 3 different layers, and they mapped them out across your keyboard depending on what octave of the keyboard, and you'll be able to access different layers. But the way they mapped it out on the keyboard, if you have a large enough keyboard, you can kind of play bass sounds and lead sounds at the same time, or you can play your chords via the keys sound and lead sounds all at the same time. So you can really have a lot of fun with this instrument. But the other really cool thing about this instrument is with just one preset, you have 3 layers inside of the preset. So it really allows you to actually not have to use too much CPU. You don't have to open up a whole bunch of tracks inside of your DAW. You could just access one preset, and you can create a whole sample just off of that one preset. And I think that's where this thing really shines. It's really good at creating samples, creating loops. You could do a lot of really cool things, and they curated each of these layers to work well together. So shout out to my best friend Jacob. He created a really dope VST in that if you use the keys in this preset and then go down a few octaves and use the bass sound, it's probably gonna go with the keys really well. If you use the lead instrument and go down a few octaves and use the key sounds, it's gonna work really well. You will be able to just use one preset to create something dope. And we'll get into that a little bit later. I'll show you how that works. But before we get into any of that stuff, before we get into the sounds in this thing and what this thing is actually capable of, I just want to go over the UI with you guys really quick and just check out what's happening here on the screen. So if we dive into the screen, these guys kept it really dope. They still have that same signature artistic blend and artistic style that they brought to their Scorch plugin. If you move the volume knobs around down here, you'll see that the animation kind of comes to life and moves. So that's really cool. Just little details like this to keep you inspired. You got your we got the engineer. I don't really know why he's rolling around in the chair, but we got the engineer rolling around on the chair. He's going from engineer to death because he heard some fire. There's skin peeled off his face. He's like, nah, son, this is crazy, son. This is crazy. Yeah, so we got him rolling around in the chair. If you move the volume rockers on the keys section, you got the speakers going crazy. If you play with the volume knobs over here in the lead section, you could go from, you know, wildlife all the way over to some techno retro craziness happening in the background. So that's really cool, really dope animations. Now, just to dive into what's happening on the screen here. Like I said, it's a 3-layered instrument. You're gonna have your bass layers, your keys layers right over here, and you're also gonna have your lead layers. As is shown down here in contact, -2 all the way up to 1. Those are your bass sounds. And if you go over here to this middle section right here, from everything from after 1 all the way up to about 5 octaves in the keyboard, which is really like the main part of the keyboard that you play when you know, whether you have a really huge MIDI keyboard or a really small MIDI keyboard, these are the keys right here that you usually have access to right off the bat. Those are gonna be your keys. And you can already hear how dope the sounds in this thing are. Super nuanced and fused. Nuanced and fused is my thing, bro. Like I love being able to just hit a key and be able to do one key and be able to do something dope with it. And in this section of your keyboard, this is where you might want to play your chords. So if you were making a loop or you were making a beat, you could use this section to create your chords. And then you can go up 5 octaves and you can play around with the lead instrument. And all 3 of these instruments are sitting inside of one preset. So you have your bass section, your key section, and your lead section. Now over here, you could toggle between poly and mono. Over here on the left side, you have your glide knob. And this is a really good glide knob. Like the way it glides, the way it sounds, it's really dope. And it's gonna allow you to really add some character to your samples and your loops. I actually use this thing all the time. I automate using it. Right over here on the right side, you have your volume fader. And over here on the left side of the screen, this is where you'll be able to go between your home screen, which is the screen that we're on right now. You can click this middle one and they have kind of like the, you know, the Harry Potter magic wand right here. This is where you're gonna get your effects. And you have a filter section and you can play around with your low pass and high pass filters. You have an LFO section and you can do some really dope things in the LFO section. You can change it between volume, pitch, pan, filter, drive. And you have these different LFO types right here. You can change the rate and the amount and just do some really cool things. You have your envelope section right here, your ADSR, and you can play around with that. You have your delay section and you have an effects section over here where you have modulation, drive, and reverb. And you can do some really cool things. Now, every single one of these effects are connected individually to each of the layers inside of the preset. It's not gonna clash. It's not gonna clash with any of the other layers. Every single time you click on a layer, you click on bass, those effects change. You can see if I turn on delay, by clicking delay, you can turn it on. And I make some changes to the delay inside of the keys section. When I click on bass, all of that goes away. So everything is individualized for each layer, and that's really dope. And then right down here underneath the magic wand, you have your chord generator. So they didn't skimp out a whole back on supplying us with as many things as we could possibly use to create something really dope. They gave us a chord generator, and that's really cool. You could switch between different chords here. The keys you could switch up. You could also change the scale. Now, this is where it gets really, really dope. We talked about the 3 layers. Now, in these 3 layers, you have your bass layer, you have your keys, and you have your leads. The keys layers and the lead layers, the green section down here and the blue section, you see these 3 buttons underneath. The N stands for neutral, so that's just playing the sound straightforward, just pretty much playing the preset the way it was created. The R stands for reverse, so you can actually reverse the sound in that individual layer. So you could have the keys layers playing in reverse, and then you can have the leads layer playing regular while the keys are playing in reverse, or you can have both the keys layers and the lead layers, it's turning into a tongue twister. You can have both the keys layered. You can have both the keys layer and the lead layer both playing in reverse. So you could have the keys layer playing in halftime, or you can have the leads playing in halftime and the keys layer playing in reverse. But as you can see, like I just showed you, I'm playing keys from one range of octaves, and in another range of octaves, I'm playing lead all at the same time. Now we're about to go into the presets, and I'm gonna show you guys what some of these sounds sound like inside of the presets. But before we do that, I wanna show you guys the snapshots section inside of Contact. Now, with snapshots right here underneath the name of the preset, you have this section that says snapshots, and you have these arrows right here. It's really cool because if you was to just use this preset by itself, you could just press forward in the snapshot. It's almost like it keeps the preset, but it plays around with the settings to give you a whole new sound within that same preset. So this is how this preset sounds. And within this same preset, if you press forward on snapshots, same preset, but different sound. If you press forward on snapshot again, same preset, but different sound. And every single preset inside of this plugin has at least 3 different snapshots that you can toggle through to take one preset and just kind of warp it into another sound without ever changing presets. So even though you have a bunch of presets inside of this thing, you can almost double or triple that just by playing around with the snapshots. So that's really cool. One of my favorite things, like I said, about Sauceware and the instruments that they create is their attention to detail when it comes to the characteristics of their sounds and the nuance inside of their sounds. I love when I hear that, and I feel like their Octave Deluxe VST, there was a lot of sounds that were like that. The Scorch VST had a few sounds that were like that as well too, but I think the Scorch VST was really dope for their synth sounds and the fact that it had the built-in chord generator and the combination sounds. The combination sounds of Scorch are crazy. This thing is really cool because it kind of combines the best of both of those things into one VST. You have a lot of nuance infused sounds inside of this thing, but you also have a built-in chord generator, and you also have the same really dope effect suite that you would see in like the Scorch VST, but you also have a built-in halftime and a built-in reverse for each layer. It's like the best of both Octave Deluxe and Scorch, as well as its own thing, by providing a whole new set of settings and a whole new set of effects that don't exist in any of those other 2 plugins. So I really like the direction that they went with this VST. Now what I want to do is I want to get right into the presets. I want to show you guys some of the sounds inside of this thing. Now, as always, I'm not going to go into every single sound inside of this VST. All right, so we'll start with this preset right here. In one preset, you're able to do so many cool, so many interesting things. This is one track. Look at my dog. It's one track. So now what I want to do without wasting any more time, I want to get right into the cook-up. I want to show you guys a beat that I made using Trifecta. Now, I actually made 3 beats using Trifecta. I've made more than 3 beats using Trifecta. But when I got Trifecta, immediately I made 3 beats. And I just want to play you guys the 3 beats that I made using Trifecta. Try 3. I'll play you guys the 3 beats I made using Trifecta, mainly because I made these beats back to back and none of them sound the same. Like they all sound like completely different types of beats. So let's check out this first one. So that's one beat. Then I made this beat here. Right? And this is the third beat I made. Again, made all of these beats back to back in the span of maybe an hour and a half. So yeah, that's the 3 beats I made using Trifecta. I can't emphasize enough how dope this thing is. I thought it would be a little complicated. I thought the idea of a 3-layer instrument spread out across different octaves on your keyboard might be a little complicated, but it's not. And not only is it not complicated, but like I said earlier, they really paid attention to detail when it came to not only creating really interesting and nuanced infused sounds, but applying those sounds to the layer that best fits it. And then taking all of those layers, all of those sounds that they applied to the layer that it fit, and then arranging them into a cohesive set of presets that, regardless of if you're playing the bass in this preset or the lead sound in this preset or the keys sound inside of this preset, the bass, the keys, and the leads all sound good together inside of this preset. So that's really dope. And you can hear that attention to detail, which is really dope. And I don't have an instrument that's like this. Like each layer has its own built-in reverse and halftime. It's just, if you're trying to bang out loops fast and make really dope sounding loops, you can do that with this instrument. And I cannot emphasize enough The nuance, bro. The nuance. The nuance. If you don't use this VST for anything else, the nuance in these sounds, the sounds inside of this thing have so many interesting movements and just, it's really cool. So, yo, my best friend Jacob, Sauceware Audio, y'all did it again. This is a really dope tool. I'm really getting a lot of beats made with this. But let me know what you guys think. Is this an instrument that you're going to be checking out or adding to your arsenal? As always, if there's any new plugins you'd like to see me review on this channel, leave it down in the comment section below. I'll get to it as soon as I can. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.